Mike Ingram, President CEO Shadin. Not much new there, right? You guys have kind of thrown the baby out with the bathwater and reinvigorated and now heading off into new territory. Tell me everything.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, about 2 years ago, Shadin was purchased by a small group of private equity owners, 3 owners, Gardner Standard, Delmar Capital, and Bob LaBelle, and formed an organization called Maverick Investment Corporation. And they're looking to grow aerospace businesses from small to large. And they purchased Shadin back in early 2000. They purchased ECE about a year ago, Electronic Concepts and Engineering. And they wanted somebody with aviation experience, avionic experience, to come in and grow the companies. So that's why I got the call.
You've been around, buddy.
I have.
We've talked on a number of venues and places and times, and holy smoke, airplanes and so forth and so on through the years. So yeah, you kind of got the merit badge here, don't you?
So I got my bachelor's and master's degrees back in the 90s, and around 2000 I started with Avidyne and been in avionics ever since. So 22 plus years, been doing avionics from engineering development through product management, business development, large P&L ownership at Honeywell, and international experience in China with GE, and now back in the kind of the small company feel, and it's a great place to be. I really love the culture that I've stepped into, and hoping to mold that culture into something that can grow and become much bigger than it is today.
Yeah, but the big difference here is you're GIC now, guy in charge. That's a big transition.
It's a humbling experience. You know, I'm really trying to just keep it all real. Mm-hmm. You know, the people are great. They know a tremendous amount of their skill and their talents, and to come in with a new strategy. How do you take that experience and then create a new strategy and grow the company from what it is today to something that's greater?
So, Shadin, 2022. What is it now? What's it going to be?
So, it's part of the innovator's dilemma, right? You have to continue to execute your current business while you grow into new places. So, we're going to continue to grow in our 2 main products, fuel flow transducers and data concentrator units. We have more and more business, more and more need for a number of different customers coming to us. We have some great contracts in place. But I'm looking to grow the business as well. Looking to do what we do best, which is embedded control systems, embedded controllers that take data, do some processing on it, do some control, whether it's controlling actuation, measuring the weight of the airplane is one of our applications. But there are tons and tons of other applications out there that we can do at a certified level. So whether it's DO 178, DAL A, B, C, whatever, we have that experience. We can do environmental tests and bring that product to market for our customers. So that's where I see a lot of the growth, is to get a bunch of those programs in play at the same time, and a few of those will hit into larger production contracts.
Interesting. There's a bit of a teaser in the middle of there where you were talking about looking at other markets and other technologies, such as?
So sister company ECE does a huge amount of defense work. So they have contracts with some of the larger primes, General Dynamics, Lockheed. They have
no small potatoes there.
No small potatoes there. So what they've done is they've been primarily an engineering services company. And if we could take some of those projects that they've worked on and create production type products out of it, be more competitive. So leverage the benefits of both companies. So leverage Shadin's ability to have lower cost production and take some of those government contracts and produce them on a larger quantity. So that's what I mean by going into other markets. Shadin to be more exposed into the defense market. We do have some defense contractors and some defense work right now, but to expand that with the help of the ECE capabilities.
All this kind of, I assume when you were brought in, there was some kind of mandate from on high about what they wanted to see Shadin do. how is that going to shape your activities going forward from 22?
So everything that I've heard about private equity prior to getting into private equity has been about high stress. The stresses of being a CEO and driving to your profit margins. Not to say that some level of stress isn't there, but this is family-backed private equity, and they are very appreciative of having a leader who knows how to run the business, who wants to grow the business and deliver more value along with profits, but deliver that value and profits and grow the company and give something back into aerospace. So I've built a fondness of the owners, and I really appreciate them as well as they appreciate me. So they are looking to grow, no question about it, but they're not looking to get that immediate return in 12 months. They know it's going to take time, especially with the long development cycles within aerospace.
Not to mention the last couple of years for this industry.
Supply chain issues and all kinds of issues happening in the market right now. So
I was joking with the staff beforehand that supply chain issues are going to be a major content. We should start a drinking game for everybody out there that every time somebody comes up with supply chain issues, it's time to chug one. It's obviously a major topic.
Yeah, for sure.
How are you dealing with it?
So probably similar to other companies, you try to build as much inventory as possible. Try to withstand the storm. You have to pay higher rates to some of the middlemen out there, but you need to have product on the shelf or stock on the shelf to build your products. The benefits of working for a small company is there's not as much focus on working capital and inventory being a big part of your business. So I don't have a problem putting more ICs or more resistors and capacitors on the shelf because I'm not being evaluated from my profit and loss perspective.
Okay, interesting. If I can get a little forward looking at this, you had mentioned about things you want to do in the future. Will this be accomplished by internal innovation or by acquisition?
Both.
Ooh,
yeah. So
there we go.
Yeah.
It's nice when you can take a look at the whole pie. There you go.
Well, and I say both. I mean, neither one I'd say is a 100% defined plan at this point. But internal, we have the engineers, we have the R&D, we have some investment capital that I can spend and put back into the business. We have cash to be able to do that. One of the challenges is to hire the right people. I've put out
another major topic here this week.
I've put out 6 to 10 offers in the last 2 months, and had a very few to actually come on board.
Ouch.
And it's part of it's probably competitive salaries, but part of it is also the size of the company, and they're looking for some of the more mature. To put it blunt, employees are in the driver's seat. They have a lot of options to where they want to go, so it makes it hard as an employer to hire people.
Amen. Been through it.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting process, and I think it's virtually any industry right now from a concept of the people coming up the ladder and the quote-unquote millennial attitude, as well as the folks who've been through a little bit of hell and may not be ready to step right into a job right now if they don't have to, but are kind of metering things out. Are you finding that the educational foundation for the industry, whether it's on the civilian or military side and people transitioning out, is that adequate to the task right now? Are those people being properly trained, so it's just a matter of convincing somebody to come on board, or are you finding the quality to be an issue as well?
No, I wouldn't say there's a problem with the quality.
Good.
We're looking for electrical engineers, software engineers, anywhere from a graduate to 10 to 15 years of experience. And we're finding that's, you bring them into a company, they have to get up to speed on learning the new tools of the company and the products. But we're finding that transition is not bad. We'd like to get people who are in aerospace who come into our aerospace companies. But if they're not from aerospace, we typically look for embedded type of processing, hardware, software kind of skills, and it's there.
to many people, and for the longest time, you mention a fuel issue of any kind, that's a Shadin thing. I mean, it's been synonymous with the company for the longest time. Will the folks who have looked to Shadin for fuel answers be able to continue to do so? What's happening to that product line?
Yeah, so we're continuing that product line. In fact, I'm investing in a new product, which we're not announcing this year, but there's another new product.
Just between you and I? Just ignore the cameras, no big deal.
We're doing some internal investments on just getting one of our fuel flow products more in our control, more in our supply chain. So internal development. The customer base won't see any difference, but we'll have more stability of our supply chain by making this improvement. So there's a low quantity fuel flow sensor that we do today, and there's a high quantity fuel flow that we do for PT6 engines and some of the higher quantity engines or gallons per hour type fuel flow systems. So those will all stay. We've been migrating out of some of the older legacy products. We did engine trend monitors. We did other air data computers. Those have been sunsetted. Some of them are sunsetted. We still service them, but from the forward production, those are not as popular as some of our fuel flow, remote flow, other fuel flow transducers that go into GTN products or some of the other glass display products.
The future path, your roadmap for the future at this point, do you see segments of the avionics industry that right now are what you may be targeting, or you may be targeting future as GA, as BizAv, as military and defense? What are the areas right now that are attractive to you, and why?
Yeah. So different products, different customers are doing different markets. For example, we do a data concentrator unit that measures the pressures in the struts on an aircraft. Our customer has STCs in the 737 and the 777. I'm really excited about that product. We're doing some testing right now on one of the smaller airlines. We're proving it out over the next few months, and then we'll bring it to some of the major airlines. Pretty simple installation. They can do it in an overnight type of install time, and they can measure the actual weight and center of gravity of the aircraft. So you can validate your calculated weight and balance before you go down the runway and
Serious
take off.
check and balance.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
So that excites me. So that's obviously in the large air transport market. We do all the fuel flow transducers in the GA space, not all of them, but we have a big market in the GA space on Cirrus, the Vision Jet, some of the Robinson helicopters.
Yay, Robbies.
Yeah.
One of my favorite flying machines. Oh God, don't you love that thing?
Oh, it's awesome.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, I mean the beauty of this company is we're very diverse. We can go to Heli Expo a couple weeks ago and come here and go to Oshkosh and have customers in each one of those markets. So you don't get home much, do you? No. Well, we got a good business development team, and I've been doing a lot of business development as well, and reconnecting with my contacts in the space, and it's been a lot of fun.
How big is the company right now?
Between the two, we're about 50 strong.
Ooh, okay, that's a respectable amount of people to run roughshod on, big time. Okay. Ouch, that had to be an interesting decision going forward. When you take responsibility to run something, it's a big moment.
Yeah, it's a different culture for sure. Coming from Honeywell and running a $2 billion P&L to a much smaller company. I'm enjoying it though. It's a lot of fun. It's a different culture, but like I said, the people are great, and we're going to grow this thing. So I'm excited about it.
The AEA community right now, as we are working our way out of a pandemic, as we are looking at some uncertainties in the future, especially with shenanigans on the other side of the pond, issues with leadership here and what's happening with the economy and all, What advice do you give to your fellow companies in AEA? What is the way that you're approaching the future after having dealt with what should be a worst case scenario and with other scenarios on the future that certainly give you reason to be cautious?
Well, people need to fly. People need to keep their airplanes up to the proper certifications, the proper specifications. The AEA is all about making sure that aircraft are safe to fly. So we need to continue to do the maintenance. We need to continue to keep our airplanes as high quality and as under specifications as possible. I say, there are geopolitical factors going on in the world right now, and but we need to make sure that we remain safe in our own, world here. Whatever support we can give to overseas and to our, and to our compatriots, we should be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But to keep our country safe and protected, we need to make sure that our country is strong, and we're continuing to invest in our country, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's new developments, new products, new markets like the eVTOL space. Those are all things that make our economy stronger and make our country stronger.
Autonomous, uncrewed, eVTOL, all that. We are partners to AUVSI. We produce the Airborne Uncrewed program for every week, and we've been watching the technologies. I'm assuming you are with bated breath. The opportunities are extraordinary.
Right.
How actively are you pursuing that market?
Cautiously optimistic.
Ooh, good one. There you go. Okay. Yeah, because we're all going to be flying Jetsons in 2024, right?
Yeah, I lived through the VLJ days with Eclipse and Vern Rayburn and Adam Aircraft
hey,
and
Vern.
a bunch of them.
God, Adam, that's going back.
It was an interesting time.
Heady stuff too. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I thought the
until
technology,
the inevitable crash and burn.
well, and the technology was advanced.
Yeah.
There were certain things that came out of that were positive, and the same I see will come out of the eVTOL transformation that's happening right now. I think there's going to be a lot of good airplanes that come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there will be some successes and there will be some failures. So when you look at the products that would come out of Shadin and ECE to go into that market, we have some very strong products that could help them out. We can do large power distribution, power conversion, 28 to 270 or even higher voltages. We can control electronic actuators, electromechanical actuators, or motors. Hydrogen fuel cells. We can do that control.
It's going to be a big deal.
Those sensors, those temperatures, all of those regulatory things, things that you need to regulate within that propulsion system. We've done all that in the past, and so we're talking to a number of the players, and just telling them the value that we can bring to them, and that we can bring a certified control system for them for whatever they need.
It's an exciting aspect of the industry. I'm working in flight test on a couple of those projects, and of course have an NDA that thick, so can't say much more.
Yep.
Exciting stuff. There isn't a single one of them that, to me, has a reasonable timetable, but at the same time, they're all delving into areas that, in the long run, are going to educate us immensely. To a certain extent, look what came out of VLJ between avionics and power plants and everything else, as well as some of the other areas. So yeah, we're going to see some huge changes from it. I'm not quite sure the Jetsons aspect of things is anything we're going to see in the future, but man, if you're not watching this now, you're out of your mind, because the money's there, the impetus is there, and the imagination is there. That's a great place to be. Final question, kind of a toughie. Where do you see Shadin 5 years from now? Outside of after you buy Garmin or something.
Yeah, that would be a dream. Where do I see Shadin? I see Shadin continuing to grow. I see us continuing to reinvest our profits back into the business. I see us being on the more innovative and leading edge of aerospace and avionics. I look at the synergies, like I said, with ECE and Shadin, and how we leverage that sharing of technology and that intellectual property back and forth. And I see Shadin being much larger than it is today. So without getting into too much details, there's definitely some fun.
Just between you and me.
There's some fun.
They won't
there's
tell.
some fun areas that we're exploring and investing in. If we can get on some of the eVTOL market on some of the eVTOL aircraft, that's going to be a lot of fun. And we hope that more will be successful in that space, and we pick the right ones, and we start building the 2,000 or 3,000 a year that they talk about.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit yet, but we wish you nothing but the best of luck. We've,
Appreciate
of course, as I said, been working with you off and on and in various iterations for quite some time. Keep us up to date news-wise so that people out in the aviation industry know what you're doing, especially as Shadin becomes more than, oh yeah, the fuel guys. And that'll be an interesting, it's one thing to have a really good branding, which you've had. It's another to expand it. Mm-hmm. And I'm anxious to see what you do with that as you get the ability and the reason to expand.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim.
Mike Ingram, President and CEO of Shadin Avionics. Lots of big changes there and boding well for GA, BizAv, military, and of course, eVTOL and the autonomous community. We can't wait to see. We'll have to get back together in 5 years and see how this all worked out.
Sounds good.
So as long as you're not on the bread line, we're fine, right?
That's right.
This industry, you just don't know, feast or famine.
News Network's coverage of the 65th Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show, live from New Orleans, is brought to you in part by the following sponsors: